Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chaz Henry. I'm the CEO of PowerChalk. We are the providers of the official motion analysis system and proud partners of USA Diving. Today I've got Allison Brennan on the line. Allison, as you might know, is the daughter of an Olympic gold medal swimmer. She is a 12-time national team member and currently the assistant dive coach at the University of South Carolina. Coaches, we're going to talk today for about 30 minutes. I'm going to give a quick overview of PowerChalk and the Chalk Talk Telestrator. This session will be recorded and the link will be circulated to everyone who registered. If you have any questions, please use the questions pod in your GoToWebinar control panel and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. So with that, and pardon the pun, let's dive in. If you're not already registered, then I'm showing on my screen here a URL, and that is powerchalk.com/diving. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring you into the PowerChalk system. That's going to let you register a free account, and from there you can start uploading and you can start analyzing these dives with your free account. There is also, and we'll touch on it briefly, but not a whole lot. There's also an upgrade function available, and as a USA Diving member, you will have the ability to upgrade for half price, or basically $50 per year. So a coach can get all the tools that we'll be using today for $50 a year and can start to use that with their divers. You can also, by the way, have your divers register an account. They'll have their own locker and the ability to upload the dives into those lockers. And as you'll see as we go into the Telestrator itself, you can share those. You can reach into each other's lockers and share. So with that, I'm going to jump over. I'm going to switch tabs, and you should see on your screen basically that I'm in the system, and when I log in, it takes me immediately to My Videos, and My Videos is the equivalent of, and grab my highlighter here, it's the equivalent of going to this area here. So the Videos tab. So if you ever get lost or you start to explore other menus within the system and you want to get back to what we call your locker, you just click on the Videos tab right here. Now within Videos, you can look at My Videos, and you can see I've got 40 videos loaded. I'm actually in the account that we used to upload all the footage that we took at the Fort Lauderdale AT&T championships. So those videos are available to you. You'll also find them if I pull down the public videos and I open up, or I'm sorry, if I pull down the premium content, you'll also see that we have a folder for the 2012 USA Diving Grand Prix. So that basically is the collection that I just showed you. And within that collection, what you can do is you can search, and I can search, for example, for a 205B. And when I click the search bar, you'll notice everything goes away, and I'm now down to 8 videos. So it's a way that if you're working on a dive, you're working with one of your students, you can pick one of these dives and model that motion that is embodied by that dive. And really to do that, all I've got to do is click the little headset Telestrator guy, and that brings me into the Chalk Talk Telestrator. So what I'll also show you, Allison and I were online earlier, and we were working through, and I've gone in and made Allison one of my friends. And if I click on my friends' lockers, then what I'll find is a couple dives that we were looking at earlier, and they are actually, I think, Allison, we put them in public videos.
Yes, I think we did as well. Okay,
so I'm gonna go back into public, and they were tell me the dive number again, Allison.
5152B.
5152Bs. So again, I'll use the search function to reduce the public videos down to 5152Bs, and there they are, owned by Allison. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down the Actions menu, and what that lets me do is either Chalk Talk this video, mark it as a favorite. So if this is one that I were constantly coming back to, then I'd want to mark it as a favorite, and it would show up in a short list over here in the menu. I can also, which Allison did earlier, share that to someone else. So she shared this link to me and said, here's the dive I want to look at in our session. And you can also, if this is an inappropriate, one of the things to note, coaches, is that this is a secure site, and it is, unlike YouTube, it is motion analysis specific. So it's dives. You'll also find baseball swings, softball swings, but we are very adamant about finding inappropriate content, so you can have your kids go on this site and know that the content is safe, because we're constantly scanning ourselves, but we also allow you to flag inappropriate content to us. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Chalk Talk this video. And this is the point where I'm lost and Allison needs to take over, because I'm going to confess that I'm more of a baseball guy. Less of a baseball guy than Matt, but certainly more of a baseball guy than a dive guy. So what we're in is we're in the Telestrator. Now notice, and this is a unique feature to PowerChalk, we have not left the browser. So we're still in the browser, and yet we've got a full-blown motion analysis system, and I can play this dive in slow motion. And you'll notice the frame, and you'll notice the little A start to roll by, and the system is, and I think there's a fair amount of setup here, or a fair amount of non-motion. And now you see this, and it looks to me, Allison, is this Australian diver?
Yes, this is Charlene Stratton from Australia, who is currently now your 2012 Olympian for Australia. She just made the Olympic team. They had their trials, and what you can see here is her going into her hop hurdle. And if you want to pause it real quick, Chaz?
Sure.
We can go ahead and pause it. And as far as analyzing this video for the coaches, she's one of the divers that does an exceptional hop hurdle, and you can really see right back here where her arms get further back, and you can see how her body line is just completely straight up. Her chest is not forward, and you can go ahead and pause this, and as Chaz is showing, you can draw lines to show different angles that a diver might be coming into, going into their last step. And if you want to go ahead and pause it, I think we could pause it at 250 again, Chaz, where she's actually leaving the board. And you can just, and you watch her come down in that nice straight line, and then you can go ahead and take it right about.
Okay, now actually we were looking at another one, and I'm going to go ahead and load. I've got her at 215, and I think her feet are coming off the board. Now this is probably my camera work. I was in Fort Lauderdale, so I don't have her framed up as well as I think we did this other 51, 52B.
Correct.
And again, I'm in the public video, so what I can do, coaches, is I can go into my videos, I can go into my favorites. I have all of the same folders that I had back in the main system, but I'm now in the Telestrator. So within public videos, I can search again for 51, 52B. This time I'm going to load a different diver, and you'll notice it loading in the top right-hand corner. So I now have these two thumbnails, and I can click on the thumbnail, and I can go back and forth between the two dives. So if I take her, and I think we were looking at this earlier, I'm going to just drag the playhead forward to, I believe she starts to leave the board.
Right about there.
Right about there. All right, so about 240.
There you go. And then what you can do, coaches and stuff, is, I was going to say, if you want to take me to a split screen, this is one of the very unique features, and I'm sure, Chaz, you can speak a little bit more about the split screen, but it allows coaches to physically look at dives next to each other. And you can take and compare different angles of takeoff, head position, arm position, coming off the board from, here we have Charlene from Australia, and I believe the one on our right is a Malaysian diver. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I apologize for that. But you can put those dives next to each other and just see the different technique, different angles, and then watch the dives continue to progress. And you can see the different points of entry. Chaz, if you want to go ahead and move them further along, or if you want to go ahead and explain a little bit about the lock screen and the split screen before we...
Let me do that. So right now, coaches, you'll notice that there's a green ring around the dive on the right, and you'll notice also I've highlighted the lock button that's in between the two. So what that lets me do is I can take the Malaysian diver and I can roll her forward, backward. I can do that with the plus button here or the minus button. I can also go back and forth between split screen and non-split screen, or I can just click on the left-hand video, and now I've got control of it. So what I can do, getting them both back to the spot where their feet are leaving the board, I'll hit the lock button. You'll notice now the green square encompasses both dives. And now as I do, and in this case I'm rolling my mouse wheel, but you can also, like I said, hit plus, 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 and we can start to see immediately differences, like Allison said, in the position, in the tucks. Now with the pikes and with the divers in those positions, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach over onto my palette here, and I'm going to change the angle tool with this little corner, and I'm going to change it. Notice I can either draw the angle or not. I'm going to change it to where I'm not drawing the angle because I'm not fixated on that angle. I'm just really trying to show the degree of pike. And so again, I can annotate, I can lay graphics. You can think of it as a clear plastic sheet over top of the videos. Now I can roll the videos with those graphics still on. So those graphics can become reference points, or if they're really not appropriate as the video rolls forward, I can just erase everything.
Perfect. And what this allows us to do, coaches, is again, analyze the dives next to each other. You can put your own diver up against, you know, Charlene Stratton in video and record their actions and their start and their takeoff. And right there you can see just the difference. If you want to pause right there, you can see the difference in legs, the difference in angles, and the difference in height off the board from each of the diver based on the video and the picture. And you can see how in the far right, her knees are a little bit bent, not the best form, and over here, Charlene Stratton on the left is just starting to come out of her pike and getting, ooh, I'm so sorry, my computer just went to sleep, and is getting her body out nice and straight and flat. And if you continue to roll forward, you can go ahead and watch both their twisting position is very good. You can see up in the right-hand corner how her legs are starting to come apart a little bit and how Charlene's a little more nice and tight in that twist. Both of them, their squares coming up and over. Very good. And then as we continue to roll forward, you can go ahead and see the different points of entry and look at, I mean, as we know as coaches and divers, the entry is the big part of the dive. And you can keep rolling forward and watch the difference in their, what we like to call dig down and entry into the water. And you can see how Charlene's, if you want to do another angle, her angle is coming into the water a little more straight and flat versus the one on the right who is coming in a little more piked. And as you'll see the end result, one goes in a little more straight in and the other comes in a little short. And you can see Charlene straighten right on out on that, whereas the diver on the left. And this is just great. Like I said, it works amazing for synchro. You can have one coach at the pool upload his video on his phone, his iPad, on his computer, and put it split screen with their synchro partner 3,000 miles away in a different state, and you guys can sit there and analyze the video next to each other for synchro, for individual, for whatever you want. I mean, this is just such an amazing tool to utilize for our sport, especially with all the technology that's coming up and coming.
Allison,
Chaz.
Yeah, Allison, when I was in Fort Lauderdale, I talked to some of the coaches, and again, you know, coming at it from a very naive perspective, one of the things that came up quite a few times was progressions. So if I've got a young diver, at what point, obviously these are amazing. You and I spoke before, and I was just amazed by the athleticism. So, you know, at what age does it become appropriate to have kids start to model this form? Or is this way beyond, do I need divers at younger ages who are just slightly above, or is this something you try to model right out of the gate?
This is something, at least for me personally as a coach, I would definitely try and model right out of the gate. You want to get technique in as soon and as early as possible. The better technique you have at such a young age, the better the diver is going to be able to perform at the older age that both these girls are at. You know, and just being able to show them, I'm a very visual learner, so just being able to show your diver the point of entry, or you need your head up here, or exactly how you have them both frozen there. You got to get your arms out, legs up, chest down in a nice tight pike. It's just, I personally feel you can start it as early, you know, as 5 or 6, when a diver starts diving, they may not understand it completely, but as they get older and grow, it's something that you can install more in them and use it. I mean, I use this with my club program every day. I have it, and you can go ahead and talk about the app that you guys have, right, that you can put on your iPad and iPhone so you can physically record it at the pool and send it directly to somebody?
Yes, but basically, that you raise a great point, because, you know, obviously telestration has been out there for at least 10 years, and there's multiple systems. There's a lot of ways to do it. And what makes this unique is everything that I load, when I use these load buttons, load A and load B, everything that I'm loading is coming in from the internet. So, you know, you'll hear that referred to as cloud. Cloud is really just the ubiquitous internet. And by centralizing everything, we're able to give you a mobile clients that straight from your iPhone or straight from your Android, you can push up to the cloud. And the minute that you do, so if Allison, you were poolside and you took a video at the trials and put it in your locker, what I can do is I can hit my load button, I can clear this filter where we were earlier searching for 5152. I can go into my friends and notice that I've got, you know, Allison as a friend, so I can look in her locker. So immediately when I click Allison, if she had uploaded a third dive right there poolside, then I'd have instant access to it. So I could literally, you know, start to collaborate. And that's part of what our approach is. You know, we believe it's less about, you know, the lines, arcs, and circles, and more about collaboration. It's not just the insights you can make, it's the insights that you can share and properly communicate. And we've just seen a lot of, and I'm sure this is true for you as well, Allison, but in the baseball world, you know, there's a lot of kids who don't see it until they see it. You know,
correct.
If you describe it verbally to them, you're dropping your hands or you're letting your hips get out, you know, too early or too late. It just doesn't register until they see it.
Correct, and I find that a lot with my divers as well as my collegiate divers, that, and I'm sure coaches on the line, you can attest to this, that you can tell them their heads are up or their arms are down, and a lot of the divers are saying, I don't feel that, I don't see it, and you know, this is just a perfect point where you can stop it at a specific point and say, here's where, you know, your pike needs to be, here's where your arms need to be, and you can see the difference in their pikes right now, how Charlene's nice and straight, and then on your right side you have her who's just kind of coming around the corner. She needed to square out a little bit better, you know, and it goes on. And if you want to play it in real time so that they can see both dives back to back to each other in real time and watch the actual different angles and entry point.
Yeah, there's an issue with that. It's going to play in real time on my machine, but since we're broadcasting this, you know, times multiple people, you're basically, you know, snapshotting the screen and sending snapshots. So let me go ahead and do that. But and I'm curious myself at how well it's going to keep up. So I'll roll them back and I'll play. But again, I think you're going to get, you know, frame updates that are very, you know, very slow to respond.
I see.
So anyway, that's the story with that. This is a different technology, by the way, guys. I should say, coaches, that there's really 3 ways to use this. And the first is that we could all be in the same room. So we could be doing what Allison and I were doing earlier, which is sharing the screen. You know, whether it's with a projector up on the wall or it's a large monitor, you know, we could be making insights and we could be, you know, collaborating. Now, there's nothing about that is saved. So basically, you know, whatever insights we make, they just, you know, they just kind of go with us. The second way is if Allison, like I said earlier, were to send me a dive, I were to look at it and record my analysis, I would just click that button there, and you're going to see a dialog pop up that says 3, 2, 1 action, and you'll notice now this red, this what was red but is now green record button is blinking. So what it's doing, it's recording everything that I both say and do. So if I draw on the video, and you know, and I talk about the hop hurdle, and I roll the frames forward, then all of that is recorded. In fact, everything inside this window. So obviously not the interface itself, but the entire window, the video window is recorded, and that turns into a new video. And that will go into the top of my locker. So again, it would be immediately available to someone on the web or someone who's, who I'm sharing with. And the third way is, and that's now gone. Let me stop this. So when you do stop the record, it says, give me the subject, the video title, the sport, and tags by which to find it later. And that's when it renders the, and saves the entire session to a new video. So I'm going to cancel that. And in fact, I'm going to reload this screen and show you, because that button disappeared once we chose to record. The button that is PowerCast disappeared, but now it's back. So PowerCast is the third way to collaborate, and that's the case where we actually share my screen and it does keep up real time, because this is not a this is not a 1 to hundreds broadcast. It's you and I collaborating, and both of us actually load the video. So as the playhead moves, you're shown that in real time. So that's a way that two coaches could, look at it in regular motion. They could look at it in slow motion, and they can do all the same drawing.
Very good. And again, just going back and analyzing her hurdle, Charlene's hurdle, you can go and just see how straight in she comes down, coaches, and you can definitely see the point of takeoff. Look, if you want to pause right there, Chaz, and draw your line straight down coming on the board, very rarely do you see a lot of divers hitting that straight line coming down on the board, especially out of the hop hurdle nowadays. You get a lot of chest leaning forward, and you can see right here how her angle of takeoff, her chest is right directly over her knees, her head is up, and you can take that point of angle as well and just analyze it and show it to your divers, and or again put it in the split screen against either your diver or a different diver. And it just really has allowed us as coaches to be able to do so much more and explain so much more to our diver versus just saying your arms need to be here.
One of the things one of the things that other conversations I had in Fort Lauderdale, it made me realize how much latitude there is in a game like baseball to have your own style, and where this is much more limited by physics. I mean, you're not going to turn 4 times unless you're tucked very tight. There's no flair of someone with arms flailing that is going to still register the 4.5 rotations. So I heard a lot about what position was achieved when you got back to board level. So those are things that I guess are pretty good metrics within the sport, that if you haven't done certain things by the time you get to certain certain heights, you're really not going to be able to finish.
Correct. And another thing that I want to point out, Chaz, you have over here, you have the giant T with the text. I want the coaches to also be able to know that you can go ahead and click that, and you can, and Chaz, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can go ahead and write what you want and go ahead and save that, and it'll show up on the screen if you send it to someone else or a different diver or a different coach, and you can kind of put in your comments on, this, her angle of come down, and type it in and send it to the coach, and you guys can collaborate over the internet.
Exactly. What this allows you to do, coaches, is you can not only have text overlay the graphic, and that is part of what's saved with your session, but you can also save phrases. So I can say good, bad, and I can save them in my list. So while I'm actually doing the telestration or the analysis session, I can jump back and forth, and I can have phrases that are already ready to throw up on the screen. What it does, it really just makes more of a video production out of the final telestration. So I may come on as a coach, and I may save a couple things and say, to my guy Joel, I'll say, Joel, 3 things we want to work on today. 1, 2, 3. I'll put them up as text, and they become part of the final video. So it just gives you a more polished, finished production out of the final video that you save.
Correct, and it's just a great tool, again, to utilize and be able to communicate, especially if two coaches are not on deck together. And we all know that the sport of synchro is becoming very, very big in USA diving, and it just will allow coaches to have divers on different states and different countries to be able to finally analyze your videos together versus me loading it up to YouTube and showing it and not being able to put it in slow motion and going on. This just opens the communication lines between coaches and allows us to see what the rest of the world is doing and to not copy them, but to learn from them. And right now you'll see a synchro pair on 10 meter that, again, are at the FINA Grand Prix. And you can pause it and see the difference in their tucks, the difference in their jumps off the platform, and everything that Chaz and I have done with the individual springboards you can do. You can draw angles, you can pause it, you can show. Again, here you see, if you want to pause real quick, you can see the difference, how one girl's head, the girl on the right, her head's still pointing down, where the girl on the left, she's more up towards the platform. So they're rotating at a little bit of a different speed, which, as you know, is going to have them hit the water at a little bit of a different time discrepancy. And of course, judges take point to half a point to up to 2 points off for any little discretion that they want. So really being together and allowing us to use this tool is a big asset for us to gain more power in the sport of diving.
And these, by the way, coaches, these were shot with commercial cameras. In fact, this was shot with a Toshiba Camilio X100, which is an HD camera, but it also has a mode that shoots 60 frames per second. So this is what's called 720 HD. This camera retails for $149. So these are not, this is not back in the day of the Firewire cameras where you had to, buy certain types of cameras and then pull those off. And as Allison said earlier, you can do the same thing, obviously, without zoom. The big drawback to iPhone, the good news is it's always in your pocket. The bad news is it does not have zoom. So depending on your situation, whether you're poolside and whether you're just really looking at warm up and practice, you might get some real teachable moments from your iPhone. But at a meet like this, you might need a what I call a canister camera, one that looks more like a tube and has optical zoom. So again, that's just a quick comparison of the video quality. And again, we think it's about the teachable moments. We accept video from almost every camera and every file format, and it's really a question of just uploading it to the cloud. The cloud will convert it into something that can be loaded into the telestrator.
Like I said, I love it. As a coach, I use it. As a diver, I've used it. And it's just such a great tool to have at our dispense. And like you said, you can have, I think, Chaz, if we have enough time left, you can go in through the different packages that they could
absolutely
get, because they don't have to get all of them. They can start out with, and I'll let you handle that. So
again, I'm going to go back to, within the telestrator, I just click my right mouse and I say, take me back to my videos. And it says, are you sure that you mean to leave the telestrator? And at that point, it takes me back to my locker. And what you'll find, the way that you would upgrade, now we were using the split screen feature. What comes with a free account is a single screen use of the telestrator and a locker that holds 10 videos. From there, you can upgrade. And what you see here as a $99 package is available for USA Diving members for $49.95. So it's half price. And what that will get you is the split screen, the 500 video locker, the ability to share your screen similar to what we're doing. But again, what we do is not a screen scrape. It's not capture the screen and broadcast it. It's actually syncing the two real time, so you can play and look at real time as well as slowed. You get the ability to record for 8 minutes as opposed to 2, which comes with the free accounts, and you get the ability to upload multiple videos at the same time. So when I got back to Fort Lauderdale and plugged my camera in, I just shipped them all, straight up to the site, and you can do that. We also, by the way, now have a monthly. So if it's something you're looking at, you're really not sure if that's going to be, a real tool for your team, for your individual coaching, you can try it on a monthly basis. So with that, that's what we wanted to cover. Allison, I greatly appreciate you pinch hitting for Jason. Wish everyone.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we wish everyone luck in Seattle. It's very exciting, and we'll certainly tune in and see who gets to London. But like I said, when I was in Fort Lauderdale, I was just blown away by the athleticism, by what these kids are doing, and I think it's just amazing to follow this up close and see how the sport progresses.
Yes, I agree.
So, coaches, if you've got any questions, first of all, I encourage you to go to PowerChalk.com/diving. Grab a free account, start playing with it. Take your iPhone out, grab our app off the iPhone, just in the App Store, just search for PowerChalk. You'll find what's called the 10-second telestrator. It not only gives you telestration ability, but it gives you the ability to upload straight to your locker, and from there you can use it on your PC and Mac as well as the iPhone. If you've got any questions, please reach out to us at info@powerchalk.com, and there's our phone number. And like I said, if you've got questions, we're gonna turn the recording off. We appreciate you tuning in today and investing your lunch in learning about PowerChalk. We thank USA Diving for their partnership, and at this point we'll turn the recording off and take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.